Alright, to talk about the previous class, we did an introduction to graphics design. And then before I proceed, I talked about graphics design as simply using text and images to represent or pass information. And I mentioned that the aim of graphics design is not just for the beauty, for the aesthetics, but is to solve a problem. What am I trying to say? If you are done with maybe 1 2 hours of your class, and at the end of the day you are not able or of your design, and at the end of the day you are not able to solve a problem, then that design not is not worth it. Is not worth the time. So you may use 30 minutes or even less to make something very simple, and it's solving a problem. That is the aim of graphic design. So graphic design in a formal term is the process by which messages and images are used to convey information to a targeted audience. So the emphasis there is on convey information. That is to say, at the end of it, the end product of what you are doing, the end product of your design has to, it must pass an information, it must convey an information to your audience. And now, who are your audience? It's a very important question when it comes to anything we are doing in life. For example, if you are creating maybe a blog, if you're a blogger for health, you have a target audience. You are talking about the people in the health sector, or I don't know, it may be about patients or whatever, but it has a target, people in the health sector. The same thing occurs to every other area of business or life. So, what are we trying to say now? Graphic design has targeted audience. Take for instance, you are making a flyer for kids. The design pattern, the text, the font size, the colors you are using has to depict children. It has to depict kids. You cannot be doing design for kids and you are going for solid colors. Maybe you can just pick one solid color, maybe black, maybe blue, and then you are going with a very bold font and all of that. It will not, it's not catchy. We understand children to like catchy things. So your target audience is children, and it has to catch their attention. Once they see it at a glance, a good design doesn't take up to a minute to interpret. A glance explains everything in details, what that design, what that graphics is all about. So I made mention of a church flyer. Maybe I'm in a taxi heading somewhere, then at a glance I'm seeing a billboard with people doing raising hand to worship, and maybe a bold caption. My mind, my I've been able to capture that, oh, that is a church program, that flyer or that billboard is for a church event. I don't need to start reading all the details, maybe the dates, the venue, and all of that. I may go and look for it after, maybe online or somewhere. But the important thing is that the design has given me a complete definition of what that flyer is all about. So that is it about graphic design. Then we talked about graphic design in brands, and then we mentioned that if you look at maybe Facebook, for example, you will find out that Facebook has a color, a particular shade of blue, and then if you go out on your way, or maybe someone send you a Facebook link to log in, and then you click on the link, then all you are seeing is maybe a Facebook with a yellow color, or even if it's a slightest shade of blue, then automatically you may not even you may not, you will not want to log in, you will not want to input your details because you are not sure of. So graphic design has all of those properties in affecting brands and all of that. So like I said, in today's class, we'll be talking about brands. So but this one is just a review of our previous class. So we can now begin. The software we are going to use is Corel Draw to start with, then we will proceed to Photoshop in our later course. So we'll start with Corel Draw. So I'll create my first Corel Draw file. So before creating a file, I talked about this panel, the create new document panel. It has the name. So here you, maybe I'm designing a letterhead or a business card. I can say business card. That is the name I want to use for this particular design. So we have presets, that one is not necessary. And then we talk about number of pages. So I have one by default. That is to say I can increase it, depends on how many pages I want to design with. I can increase it here or decrease it, but it doesn't matter. Maybe if I'm working with one page, there is provision for me to increase the page even in the main document. So I can skip it for now. And then page view. Then we talked about these colors. Primary color mode. How are you designing? Where are you designing? And what are you designing for? So is it a print design? If it's a print design, what have I said? Print design, designs you will print at the end of the day. Maybe if you know of printers, we have printers that are, we have cut printers, they print magazine, big size papers and all of that. So those ones you need to do separation. That means you separate the colors at the end of the day before the printing is done. And the printing is done according to these four colors that are here. We have CMYK. C stands for cyan, M for magenta, Y for yellow, and K for black. So these are the colors in CMYK color mode. So when they are doing the printing, when they are doing the separation, they are separating it into these four color modes, so that when they are printing, they will print it four times. They will print it in cyan, print in magenta, print in yellow, print in black, and a combination of it will give you your full color printing, dot to dot printing. So talking about RGB simply means red, green, and blue. So it's a color code mode that supports devices, screens, maybe desktop, your Android device or iOS, iPad, and all, anything that is screen and not printed. But in the recent development, we have machines that can print RGB colorful, very sharp. So if you are printing, maybe if you are designing a letterhead or even a business card, those are actually small designs, printable designs. So you may choose to design with CMYK or RGB. The production will still be in good quality. Now we go into the dimensions, the paper sizes. Like I said earlier, we have different type of paper sizes, a lot of it, but by default there are a few of them that are available. And we have A4. If you open up, you see different types of paper sizes. These are by default. And then we said that the paper sizes, I think the arrangement is in opposite ways. What am I trying to say? You may assume that okay, the higher the number, the higher the paper size, but that is not correct. In this case, is the higher the number, the smaller the paper size. So we have A6. A6 is very small. A6 is very small. A5 is double of A6. That is to say, if I add A6, or let me say A6 plus A6 will give me A5. A5 plus A5 will give me A4. A4 plus A4 will give me A3. A3 plus A3 give me A2, and so on till you get to A0. So A0 is larger in size compared to A1. Same applies to A2 and the train goes. So we have that, and we are familiar with A4. A4 is our normal office paper size, the A4 paper we use in office printing and the rest of them. Then A5 is mostly used for flyer designs, mostly used for flyer designs. But you can choose any other depending on the medium, depending on how you want it. It's your design, so you can choose on what to print on. So we have the web banner sizes, different sizes for web canvas, and then we have envelopes, a different envelope. We have different size of envelope in the market, and we go ahead to business cards. You know our normal business cards. If you don't know the measurement, you can just click on it, and then the measurement comes up. You start your design, and a lot of them. Then we have custom. When we talk about custom, it means you have the ability to specify a size you want to work on. Talking about custom size now, take for instance billboard. The size of a billboard is not included by default in Corel Draw. So it's now dependent on you. You know the size of the billboard where you want to place that design. So you go there with your tape. You go there with your tape. Here is where we have the units of measurement. So we have tape that measures in centimeters, in millimeters, yards, feet, and the rest of them. Personally, I'm used to feet. So I want to design a flex of maybe 7 by 5 feet. So I take my feet and then I specify it here. Maybe I want the width to be 7 feet and my height to be 5 feet. Okay, how do I want it? We have page orientation. Page orientation is simply the position, the arrangement of the page. Is it portrait or landscape? So I may decide that okay, I want portrait, I click here, or I need landscape. But I'm working with landscape. Then we go to resolution. Resolution actually talks about the quality, the pixels of your design. So, like I mentioned earlier, if you are designing for printing, you can use 300 and above. Then, if you are designing maybe also for printing, but it's not advisable because of quality, but you can maybe if it's letterhead paper, 200 is still fine, but 300 is approved, 300 and above for printing. So 200 and below varies from different screens to the other. So there is a screen you will display 200 dpi and it will not be as sharp as 300 and then 150 and the rest. So 150 is okay for mobile devices, 100 and below. So depending on the quality, but printing quality is from 300 and above. So we have selected business card and then we want to pick our business card. Oh, business card is here. And then look at the size here in inches, 3.5 by 2 in inches. And we hit OK. All right. So this is the size. This is the size. Draw, come back. All right. This is the size. So I can zoom it. So I want to work on this. So we talked about the different tools. We talked about the different tools. We have the pick tool, like the name implies pick. You can use it to pick an object, an image, a text. You can use it to transform, maybe increase the size of the text, and that's it. Then we talk about the shape tool. Shape tool allows you to shape an object. All right, it allows you to shape an object using their nodes, so you can shape with the shape tool and do all sort of manipulation on your object. We'll go into that. Talking about our crop tool is simply to crop out a particular section or an area of your design you don't want. Then the zoom tool, you zoom in and zoom out. So we talked about these other tools. We have the freehand tool, 2 point line, bezier pen, wish, spleen, and the rest of them. So we can touch them one by one, like the name implies here, freehand. Let's start with freehand. Freehand simply allows you to make drawings at will. So if I click on it, maybe I want to draw a circle, and just click on it and drag. Okay, but you see it's not perfect. It's not perfect. So that is the work of freehand. I can use it to maybe sign signature or whatever. I can do anything with freehand. And then we go to 2 point line, like the name implies, 2 points. So it starts your maybe a line and it ends with another point, just 2 points. So if I click on this point and drag to another point, and that is all. So if I should do another one, it starts from afresh. That means it's only 2 points from point one to point two, and that's it. So if we go for another one, maybe the bezier tool. Bezier tool allows you to make still lines but continuous line with different points. So if I should click on point one, point two, point three, you can see the line continues from one point to another. So I can keep creating what I want till I get to, and that is it for Bezier tool. So it allows you to create objects or shapes using different points. So the pen tool, it still draws but in different. So if I click on point one, point two, point three, point four, it's the same thing. But I may need a curve. So if I need a curve, once I click on the next point, I'll hold down and then drag it, anywhere I want, how I want my point, and then and that is it. So that is the work of those tools there. All of them, they are still doing line drawings. So we are okay with those points. So the next thing is artistic media. Okay, we need to explore that. Okay, artistic media. Once you click on it, it has properties. Look, this is a property bar. So for every object you have here, they have their properties. So that means you can adjust from the property bar. So clicking on the media, artistic media tool, I have other. You say here is brush, here is sprayer, and we have calligraphy and expression. So if I go with the first one is the normal preset, so you can click on it maybe get one of it, draw, and then that is it. Or I still go back, maybe go with the brush, and then what type of brush I can select is a symbol, and this will change. Any of them I need I can use. Calligraphy, and then I can pick from the list. Scroll, and you have different type, maybe this, and that is it. Still go back. So I go to sprayer. Sprayer, okay, we have plants, we have brush food, and the rest of that. So if maybe making an illustration of a city, or yes, a city, I can say, so I can use the plant here. Then I select maybe leaves or trees, maybe just draw it out, and then I have my trees for the city. All right, so I can draw as many as possible. um, plant is maybe leaf, or the plant again, and all of that. So that is it for the artistic media tool. So I can delete this for now. So we go again. We have our rectangle shape. These are default shapes that are available. We have the rectangle tool. So click a single click on it. You can drag it different any size you want, any size you want, and then you can still use that same rectangle tool to make a perfect square. I said earlier, I don't. It is not advisable to. Okay, it is good you have all the keys offhand that you can just click on Control Shift or Alt to work. So if you have need for a perfect square, all you need to do is just try. As you are, if you are a learner, you just keep trying. Maybe if you are drawing with Shift, okay, Shift is not giving me what I want. I need a perfect square, but Shift is not giving me what I want. I leave it. Try alternate Alt. Alt is still not giving me what I want. I try Control. Okay, Control is giving me a perfect square, so I'm okay with Control, and I leave it there. So that is it about drawing a rectangle. And we talked about using the shape tool to transform a rectangle. There are two ways you can use a shape tool in transforming. The first one, a single click on the shape tool has changed the nature or the properties of the square. If you can see, we have black notes here. We have black notes at the edges. So what do we do with it? How do we transform? The four notes, the four sides are being selected. So if I should click on any side and drag, you see the effect affects both the four sides. So I can continue to drag it till you see it changes to a perfect circle. So I can decide to maybe go back to normal. I still click again. Maybe I didn't want the four sides to be affected. So what do? I click on just one side. You can see we have black on one side. The rest of the notes are empty. They are not selected. So if I drag here now, it's only that side that is affected. Then maybe I want the same thing on this other side. So I'll just leave the make a single click here, and only this node is selected. The rest of them it is selected. So I'll just click on it and adjust. So we arrive at a different shape from our perfect square. That is one way of adjusting using the shape tool. The next way is to convert your object to curve. Converting to curve allows you to do ad advanced shaping. So if I right click on it, you can see here convert to curve. convert to curve, or you use Control and Q. So going back to my shape tool, you can see the difference here and here, here and here. Here we have black notes and maybe dotted blue lines around it. But if I click on here, we have white notes, and then is continuous blue line selected here. So I can adjust with the note. You see the adjustment here is actually different from the other one, not a curve in this case. So I can transform that to any shape I want, maybe an arrow or something. Okay. So I can further transform this. Maybe I need a particular part of it to be curved. So a single click on that part, maybe this part or any of the part, a single click on the any part I want will give me this property bar. So what do? I look for, you can, this one say okay, convert to curve, and from the diagram, from the icon, you can see a curve shape. So clicking on it will allow you to, you can see there we have another type of node here. So if I click on it and drag, I have a curve shape, or this way. If I don't want to control it from there, I click on this part, you can see this. So I can drag from here, and then make any curve I want to do. Maybe click on this part again, or do the same thing. Okay. I can want to play around it with love or whatever, depending on how careful I am. I just play around it and then build my love shape if I want. Okay, or something. So that is it if you are working with. Okay, so another thing, okay, let's use a different one. So let me keep this aside. Let me convert this to curve again, and then use my shape tool. We have four nodes here because we had a rectangle before. But what if I want to create another node? Instead of single clicking, I double click on where I need a node. I can double click. I can do different double click to create nodes. You can see you double click, you have different nodes. Double click to have different nodes. That means I can work with those nodes. Anyhow I want. Adjust it anyhow I want. Anyhow I want to adjust it. And even continue to create more. Can create more. It all depends on what you want to design. So you have your design, so you have your creativity. So anything you want to do, that is it about the shape tool. So you can shape just anything. Alright, we proceed to the ellipse tool. This one is simple. You can use it to create circle, ellipse. How do you get a perfect circle? If you hit your control will give you a perfect circle. But like I said earlier, there is no arm trying shift or alt just to know what each key or each function is for. So that is it for perfect circle. I can still shape my circle. So if I hit my shape tool, I have only one node. I can right click and convert it to curve. Then I have multiple nodes. I can create another node, and create another node if I want to, and create another node, and that is it. So anything is possible with the shape tool. The shape tool is very useful. It's very useful. I have a shape of an oyster there or something. So that is it with the shape tool. So we go over to the polygon tool. Polygon tool, this tool allows you to get other shapes outside the square, rectangle, and the ellipse, the circle. So with polygon tool, you can create. Okay, I clicked on the polygon tool and the property bar changes. So what do we have here? Here is the polygon shape. So it gives me the number of size. You know, polygon, when we talk about polygon, we are talking about different sizes. Three sides, four, five, six, and the rest. So it shows we have three sizes here. That means if I should make my drawing, I'll have a three-sided shape. That is a triangle. If I still go back there, maybe on polygon, and say, okay, I need a five or six side, you can see it keep changing, increasing the size. I can increase, I can decrease, and all you can see there are notes. They are notes. So if I want to work on those notes, I click on my shape tool. Like I say, shape tool is a very beautiful tool everyone needs. So if I click on it, the notes are selected, so I can click on one note and then you can see what we have there. I can make my adjustment. So it's a very beautiful tool, the shape tool. It's very beautiful. You can see what we have there. So you can transform it to fit anything. So that is it about the shape tool. Okay, so after that, we are going to move on to working on something. So we worked on the um, former NNPC logo, the old NNPC logo. So let's go there with it. Um, old NNPC logo. Okay, so we can click on this. Okay, copy that, or let me just save it. Let me save it and then can drag it to my Corel Draw. So we want to make a, a clear copy of this. We want to design this. We want to design this. So let me demarcate that. Blah, blah, blah. We want to design this here. So first of all, you take a look at it. You may decide to go design. Different people may have their different ways of designing this. So what do we do? How do we go about this? Some persons may want to design using the bezier tool so that they can click on points using different points, maybe tracing. This is called tracing. This is called tracing in design. So you click on the point, you'll be clicking on points, clicking on points, clicking on points. Okay. And the process continues. So if I should drag that out, you can see that we have something close to or similar. But the shapes are actually different. They are not regular. The shapes are not regular. So it can work better for us. So how do we go about this? I will delete that. So this is, if you can see from here to here, this is a rectangle. So I go with first a rectangle. So after that, what do I need? I need the rectangle to be duplicated to as many as possible. So using the transform Alt F7 on your keyboard the transform will bring out the transform option. This is the transform option. Hitting the Alt F7. This is the transform option. So what should I do now? We have the transform option has different other transform mode. So you can transform by position, by rotating, scale and mirror and the rest of them. But we want to focus on the rotation because we want it to transform and then rotate around this axis where we have the X. So if I hit the rotate and then maybe select an angle, maybe 15, and then how many copies? One. I need one. Let me use one so that I can see how it goes. So if I hit one, okay, hitting one, I can see that the angle here and the angle here is too small. So I will undo, Control Z to undo. So I can increase the angle again, maybe to 20, and I hit apply. Am I still satisfied with it? I'm not. So I can say undo again, maybe try 23. I don't want it to be very wide. Okay, I'm fine with 23, so I continue. At the end of the day, I realized that using 23, the angles here and the angle here is not the same. So 23 is not fine. So I can go back to 20. I work with 20. So even though I will not be able to measure the angle between this and the other ones, but from afar, I can sight that the angle somehow is the same. So I think I'm done with this. I can close my transform panel. Then I do multi-selection. Multi-selection is selecting more than one object, maybe one, two or more. So I can click on it and then hold down my shift key and select each of them. But that is waste of time anyways. So what I'll do is from outside using my my pick tool, from outside I make a selection over all the objects I want to select. So all of it is selected. Now the property bar changes. The property bar changes such that I have this section where we have the weld, the trim, the intersect and the rest of them. Or if you are using a different version of Corel Draw where you don't have this here, you can go to objects. From objects you can see shaping. Shaping you can see weld, trim, intersect and the rest of them. The same thing you have up here is here. So what do? There is no harm in trying. I always say you can try any of them. If it works for you, fine. So if I should try trim now, trim has not given me what I want. I need this shape. This is what I'm looking for. So trim is not giving me what I want, so I undo. I go back to object. Maybe try another one, maybe weld. Okay, weld is giving me something closer. So I can now maybe deploy another option to making this looks like this. If you can see, we have a square shape here. This is looking square. So and here we have a V shape triangle. So that is not what we are looking for. So what do? I use the ellipse tool and I'll create a perfect circle. And then all I'll need to do next is select the two of them. That is multi-selection now. You can click one, hold shift and click the second one, or you can drag, select the two of them at once. Without your control or alt or shift, just hit your C, take it to the center, and your E. So it's now center aligned. So the both of them have been selected, and I think I still need to increase the size of the inner circle. So I'll hit it, hold down my shift key, adjust from this angle. Don't use these angles, don't use this. Adjust from the angles here. So I will adjust it using my shift key, adjust it a little bit. Uh, I'm still not okay. So I zoom out, hold down shift, adjust it again. Then I think I'm fine here. So I'm satisfied with this. So I'll now select, okay, am I okay? I think the space here is still big, so I'll need to increase it again. Okay, increase it to maybe this level. So I should be fine with that. I select all now, select both of them, and then keep trying the same option. Maybe I can try weld or go back to object shaping, weld, and then we arrive at this. So we are 50% closer to our design. So the next thing I can see, maybe let me fill it with the yellow color. I mentioned using the eyedropper tool. If you don't know exact color code, you can use the eyedropper tool to pick eyedropper tool, go to the color, pick it, just a hit on it, pick it and drop it here. So that is one. We have arrived at one. So the next thing now to do is the inner circles. So if I click on this, make a perfect circle, pick the color again, that is red, apply it here, select both of them, hit your E and C. That's taking it to the center. I will make another circle again for the green color. Maybe pick color, pick it again, apply. Just to do the same thing, select the two of them, hit your E and C, and it's there at the center. Can increase it a little bit, and that is that. So we are very fast in that. So the next thing now is our text. So we have the Nigeria, Nigerian Petroleum, Nigerian Petroleum. Okay, okay. We have national, Nigerian National Petroleum, and then we have something else there. We have corporation under it. So corporation. So what do we do? I bold on that. So you can see the two of them are together, but I need them separate. So what to do is to break it. You can right click and then you see we have break here. Okay, there is no break. So what do we do? Control K is for break apart. Let me see if it have it in objects. Break. Okay, here is it. It said break this apart. Control K. So you can hit here and it will break. That means the two of them are now separate. This and this. So the next thing we want to do is to wrap them around. So I can decrease this a little bit and then take it up. So what do I want to do? While this is selected, I hold down my shift key and select the red circle. So the circle and the Nigerian National Petroleum is selected. So using your feed text to pad, automatically it fits into it. So what do I do next? I zoom out, drag it a little bit up so that you have space between the circle and your text. So I'm satisfied with that. So if you notice, the circle and the text are now joined together. That means if I drag out this circle, the text is out too. So what do I even need? I don't want it that way. I want them to be separate, the text separate and the circle separate. So I undo. Then I go back to my object and then break text apart. I do the same thing. So if I click my circle now and drag it out, it comes out without the text. I undo. So the next thing is to put the corporation. You see the corporation in the opposite direction now. So what happened if I should maybe do the same thing, hold down shift and select the circle again, text fit text to part. You see it goes up here, which is not what I want. So I'll undo, hold down. First thing I want to do is I'll change this, I will rotate this to angle 180 degrees so that once I fix it in, it will just fix without stress. So if I hit fit text to part, you see it's taking any part that my cursor goes, it will just fit into that part or something. But I want it to fit into this part. So if I take it here, okay, I hit enter. And then what would I do? Zoom it in again, drag it closer, drag it closer. Am I okay with that? Maybe yes, maybe if I'm not, I can maybe use these options here. It's not working, so what do I do? It's still not working. So I still need to drag it on my own, drag it manually. And then what I'm looking at now, I'm trying to cover the space between here and here. I need them to be the same. So I keep pushing. I keep pushing. I keep pushing. Okay, so I've gotten that, even though I think it's still not, one side is bigger than the other. So I can maybe adjust a little bit. I think I'm adjusting even more. Okay, so I should be satisfied with that. I should be satisfied with that. I hit OK. So I'll still do the same thing. Go back to my object and then break apart so that I'll have my text separate and my circle separate. But in this case, I think it's very close. The closeness is too much. Like the C, the O and R, the I and O. So I think I'll need to go back and try that again. So I undo up to this point and then rotate it again 180 and then flip text to part and I go again. So this time I allowed it to be inside my circle and then zoom it out and drag it out, drag it till I'm satisfied. Okay, I am satisfied there. So you can try different alternatives just to get what you want. So at this point, I think at this point we've had a very we have it correct both in this space here and here. So what next? The next thing is to add the dots here. So that one with the square, your rectangle shape, you can just create a little small dot there. Maybe hold down control for a perfect sum, a perfect square. Then attach your black color and then duplicate it. Control D will duplicate it and then you drag it this other way. So I think we have it's too thick. So we remove the A line, click on it, remove the borderline, and we've arrived at our logo. So what is left there is the space between this engine and the text. This space is too much. So what do? We can decrease the engine, maybe drag it down. Okay, maybe let me zoom it and decrease again. Okay, once more, and we should be okay with that. So that is it for the logo. If you have any question, you can use the comment section. Then we did another logo design. We designed the MTN logo. MTN logo. Okay, we pick this. We pick this. Let me copy it and go back and paste. So this MTN logo here. So if you look at it, it's very simple, very simple, because the the things that are there is simply, if you can look at it, this is how design ideas starts. Once you look at it, look at the things you can do. Okay, first of all, what can you see? We can see text, we can see elif tool, and I think that is basically the two things we have there. So with your elif tool, you can draw the shape. After the shape, you go to your text tool, type the MTN, maybe make it bold, drag it there, then pick the color. You have your color, your eyedropper, pick the color, and then you can see we have a black border. We don't need it, so you come to the border and make it none. Then your text, we have white text, make it white. So we are getting there. So what do we do now? We want to, you can see we have a yellow T and a part of it being red and italic. So what do? Here we have italicized, so we make our text italicized, and then you can see the space between each text is not as wide as this. So we can use our shape to maybe drag the shape text small, and it's closer. So if you select the two of them, you can hit your E and C to be sure they are at the same time. So what next is to break them apart so that you can give them individual colors. So like I said earlier, to break apart, go to object, Control K. So you can see, you can select M separate, T separate, and N separate. So the next thing now is give T a color. A color, you can pick the color from here and apply it to T. So we are left with the down part of the T. So if you use your rectangle tool, if you draw out a small part, bring it down there, and then using your shift key, select the T, and you should have these options again. If you don't have it, you go back to your object, go back to shaping, use trim. Trim will cut that part out. So you now see we have that part, this small part here. So what next do we do? The two of them, they are still together. So we want to break them apart so that we can apply a different color to the downside. So still go back to your object, Control K. You can see Control K, and then they are now separate. This side and this side, they are now separate. So I can hit here or go back to my color eyedropper to pick the red color here and then apply here. And we've come to the end of our design for the logo. So if you need a yellow square or rectangle, just put it out, apply your yellow color. If you okay, you can see the layer at which the yellow background is at the top layer, meanwhile our design is behind. So how do I take the yellow background behind? If you see, look at your keyboard, you should see page up, page down. So what do? We use a combination of control. Now we want to take it behind, so we use control and we hit our page down. Page down, you can see some things are coming and then it's behind. So our logo is created successfully. So by this we've come to the end of our lesson for today. Thank you. Do remember to drop your comments, review, questions, and let me interact with you. See you in our next class. Thank you.